Well, this is a great day. We have been looking forward to this and excited about this. We really marvel at the work that has been done here to create the new Student Success Center. And while everyone who is here today is special, we would like to point out some special guests who are with us today. Our former trustee, Buzzy Powell, class of 1968, and his wife, Donna Powell, whose generous personal and foundation gifts have made the center possible today, as well as the Powell Resource Center before it. We're happy that Wade Powell, and class of 2000, and his wife, Laura Powell, also of the same class, along with their children, daughter Carson and son Adrian, and Bill and Sue Kidd, Bill from the class of 1969, parents of the Powell's daughter-in-law, Lauren. Former Emory and Henry President Charles W. Sydnor, Jr., class of 1965, who will be speaking later. And then we're also happy to have George Whitley, a member of our Board of Trustees, as well as our former trustee, Tom McLaughlin, class of 1968. We have a number of former directors and long-term employees of the Powell Resource Center, the predecessor of the Powell Student Success Center, and they are with us today. Former Director Josie Lewis, Provost Michael Puglisi, who we will hear from shortly, and former Director Jill Smeltzer. We have a number of current employees of the new Powell Student Success Center, and I'm going to let our Dean of Student Success, Travis Proffitt, introduce them during his remarks. I would like to recognize Steve Johnson, Project Manager from the Burwell Construction, who led our construction team. He and Burwell CEO Bill Prince are great partners for this institution, and we are grateful for their efforts. Our CFO, Angie Edmondson, our Vice President for Administration, Mark Graham, our Vice President for Advancement, Greg McMillan, our Facilities Director, Scott Williams, our Project Manager, Matt Pollock, our Chief Information Officer, Rob Stalder, our Dean, Travis Proffitt, our Provost, Mike Puglisi, and our Executive Director of Strategic Planning, Ryan Boyer, are all in attendance. And for the students who are in attendance, we're glad that you're here because this center is for you. For so much of the conversation in higher education, the question of retention and how we are able to keep students on the path from admissions through matriculation all the way through to credential. How is it that that process is effective? That has become, as I say, a key question in higher education. The resources that go into every institution to make certain that we have all of the experiences that we need in order to educate our young people. These resources are precious, and they are becoming rarer. So when an institution can really place all of its efforts in the direction of student success, to make certain that as students begin to invest their time and their resources, that in fact they are able to achieve credential. It is the purpose of this center to make certain that the students that we admit to Emory and Henry College will in fact become graduates of Emory and Henry College. We know that the world needs more Emory and Henry graduates, not fewer. We recognize that our unique blend of liberal arts, also accompanied with training in professional services as well, but also a deep and abiding commitment to service and to the notion that a life well lived is one that is lived in service to community. It's because the world needs all of this that we have a center like this today to make certain that our students make it through to a successful conclusion of their time here at Emory and Henry. Buzzy Powell and his family have been at the forefront of this for decades now. In fact, long before the conversation in higher education had turned to student success, they were sponsoring the efforts here at Emory and Henry. And so it is that it is fitting that we would take time today to dedicate this center and to thank them for their support and for all that they have done to help our students to be successful. It is now my privilege and my honor to introduce Dr. Mike Puglisi. He is our Provost and Executive Vice President, and himself a former Director of the Powell Resource Center.
Well, I want to certainly add my words of appreciation to the Powell family, Mr. and Mrs. Powell, for your generosity in making this center a reality. I know from previous conversations with Mr. Powell that your commitment to supporting student success is something that you hold close to your heart, and we certainly appreciate that here at Emory and Henry. Adrian Powell III was a fine young man, and I'm honored to have known him. And I can't think of a more fitting tribute to his legacy than the countless numbers of the lives of students that we will be able to serve through the Powell Student Success Center as they travel the path to realize their success in college and beyond. We know that students come to college and they need help navigating their pathway, whether it be a caring first-year advisor or a student success coach who will help them determine their path through college, whether it be a personal counselor or a tutor to help them with their classes. We can provide all of that in such an enhanced way thanks to your support of creation of this center. This center, the Powell Student Success Center, is a huge asset to us in providing that support for our students, and it wouldn't have been possible without your support. So again, thank you. You know, this space was a dream for many of us for a long time. I was talking to Jolie Lewis a few minutes ago, and I remember a day particularly, probably 10, 11 years ago, when Jules Smeltzer and Jolie and I and a few others came in and stood right about here probably in what was then the auditorium, and we just envisioned what it would be like if we could flatten out that floor and build out offices, build out meeting spaces, and really have this as a walk-in center for students to just know they had a safe place to come for the kind of help that they needed to get through college. And today, that dream that we had 10 or so years ago is a reality thanks to the generosity of the Powell family, and we can't thank you enough for that. So in closing, I just want to speak on behalf of the generations of students to come who will walk through these doors and benefit from the services we are able to provide at the Student Success Center thanks to the support of the Powell family. So for all those students who are yet to come, who are not even at Emory and Henry yet, your generosity will continue to have that tremendous impact, and we thank you for it. It's now my pleasure to introduce our Dean of Student Success, Travis Proffitt, and a 2004 graduate of Emory.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. It really is a surreal moment to be in this space with each of you. As we've heard, this is decades in the making. And it's the culmination now of over a year of meetings, blueprints, fabric swatches, lots of dust, and plenty of sneak peeks through the construction plastic as things were underway. This is a moment that brings to life decades of vision and hard work and caring compassion from so many, from the Powell family and others who are in this room today. It is such a deep honor to be here. During my time as a student at Emory and Henry, I was helped by the folks of the Powell Resource Center. I sought counseling, tutoring, and career guidance. And now, nearly 20 years later, I have the distinct honor of introducing a remarkably talented staff of Adrian Powell III, Student Success Travis. And most folks are gathered down here. A couple who are speaking are up here with me, but first is our counseling team. I'm glad to introduce Todd Stanley, Director of Counseling Services, Maria Flacabento, who is currently in a session with the students, so we're glad that's where she is. And Alex Gerson, who was unable to be here today, but sends his deep thanks to everyone. Additionally, we're so excited to introduce Emmett Casey and Liv Jennings, I believe they're around the corner there, two graduate students at the Emory Clinical Mental Health Program in Marion, who are serving as practicum students in our office this year. And of course, he's sleeping at the moment, but Gus, the therapy dog. Next, I'd like to introduce Mary Ellis Rice, Director of New Student Academics, Sydney Leonard, who's over here, and Sam Davis, both of whom are some of our first-year academic advisors. Next, I'd like to introduce Emily Myers, over here, Director of Academic and Disability Support Services. With her team are Dr. Amy Hopkins-Mason, Academic Success Coordinator at the Health Science Campus, Dr. Lauren Harding, and Carly Blaylock, both of whom are Student Success Coaches, and Jacqueline Kessner, Director of Student Athlete Success. Kyle Sensabaugh, Assistant Athletic Director for Student Athlete Success, sends his regards, but he is joyfully at home today with a 3-day-old infant daughter. I'm also honored to introduce Fred George, Director of New Student Experience, and Amanda Finner, our new Operations Manager, who makes all of this happen, and she coordinates our very critical tutoring program as well. I want to take a final quick moment to say this. The folks that I just introduced are the hardest working and most compassionate folks I've ever had the privilege to know. It brings me so much comfort to know, without a shadow of a doubt, that when a student sits in one of their offices, that they are met with listening ears and open minds. Our students are in the best of hands, and we're so grateful to have a world-class space in which to carry out this vital and life-giving work. Thank you. It is now my honor to introduce Zeke Workman, who is a senior here at Emory College, and as others have said, this place is for our students, and it is the most critical moment to hear from a student today. So Zeke, welcome.
Good afternoon. Let me first just start off by saying it's such a pleasure to be here with you all today, and just to witness all the cheerful faces in the audience, for us to be present and not here over a screen. I've been asked here today to recognize a marvelous and outstanding group of workers at the Powell Student Success Center, and if I had to start to think about all of the things that this group has been able to accomplish, I honestly wouldn't be able to put into words. This group has accomplished so many things by connecting students to tutors, connecting students to other students, which is a really big part of the Emory experience, and just making sure that they feel supported through their journey of higher education. So let me just first start by getting y'all to imagine something with me, all right? So a little kid, around the age of 10 years old, from the warmer southern part of the United States, where the summers are scorching and the winters barely bring snow. This young, smiley southern boy grows up with the hope to later in life become the best version of himself thinkable. This little boy at one time aspires to be a firefighter. And a few months later, decides he wants to fly planes. And a few months later, he decides he wants to become an attorney. This time, sure of himself that this is the career he wants to do. However, in the midst of this journey to discover all of these fascinations, desires, and the occasional riding feeling of not knowing if he is able to accomplish his dreams, he feels supported by a village of people that allows him to keep dreaming and reimagine who he would like to become in the future. Later in life, the clock is ticked. Now has arrived that, well, it's time for him to go off to college. A small liberal arts school somewhere in Southwest Virginia, where he's a great distance from home. At this point, he realizes and becomes aware of what it means to be away from home. However, as he arrives to this new, distinct place, he becomes welcomed by a village of friendly faces with smiles and that unique Southern kindness that would just warm your heart. This young boy then begins to smile and realize that he has found his second home, and he's then told, welcome to Emory College. My name is Zeke Workman, and that young spirited Southern boy was me. Are we familiar with the phrase that it takes a village to raise a child? Well, I believe the same thing applies to higher education. And let me just say, these past 4 years, I felt the love of that village. I felt the support, and it's really just made my experience here at Emory one that I never would have thought I would have been able to have. The workers at the Powell Student Success Center play such a key component in the lives of students here. And I think the biggest thing that these workers do is they take pride in what they do here. They take pride in their jobs. And us as students, we're able to see that. And I think, just helping them navigate the common reoccurrence of new career desires, or just helping them navigate the highs and lows of being a student. But really what they do is they help us find our own unique paths of success. And so just to finish it off, I just want to give a thank you to all of the people here who have supported me here during my academic journey. And I know that they will continue to do the same for the next generation of students that come through. Thank you.
Apologize for the bit of feedback. I'm going to test something here for a moment. If we turn off the mic, is it still able to be heard fairly well in the back? Okay, that might cut down on some of the feedback. Thank you all for your flexibility. Next, I'm very excited to welcome Sydney Leonard up to the podium. Sydney is a 2020 graduate of Emory and Henry, and also now one of our staff members here in the Student Success Center. So, Sydney, welcome.
All right. Can everybody hear me? I'll speak loud. Okay, cool. So, as Travis said, my name is Sydney Leonard, class of 2020. So, as you all know, graduated from here very, very recently. What's really great about that is not only am I new to higher ed, but I'm old to Emory and Henry. So coming to Emory and Henry as a student, I was local and was very nervous that I was close to home. And I know that some people can attest to that. But being close to home allowed me to form these bonds with the people that I was around. And some of those people that really assisted me whenever I was here were Emily Myers and Todd Stanley. As Travis was talking about, I was one of the people that utilized the resources from the Powell Resource Center as a student here. I used counseling, and then whenever we flipped online for COVID in spring 2020, Emily really, really helped me in an academic support and disability services plan for an auditory disability that I have. So through the resources and the generosity of the Powell family, I was able to be the best version of myself that I could be. And in my time at Emory and Henry, I discovered that I wanted to work in higher ed. And anytime you're in an interview for any higher ed position, they're always like, all right, what is your higher ed philosophy? What is your leadership philosophy? And my answer was the same every single time. And that was that I want to be able to give students access to the resources that I did not have as a first-generation college student. I want to be able to be that stepping stone that paves the way between admissions and their time at Emory and Henry, and I'm able to do that as a first-year academic advisor. I advise a great deal of the social sciences and natural sciences, so I am able to be in contact with a lot of these people. Whenever I was a student here, I worked under Jolie in orientation, and then was able to work with Fred this summer on a little bit of the logistics of the orientation stuff. So I got to know these students very, very quickly. And now, thanks to Emory and Mary Ellis, I'm actually serving as a Core 100 professor as well, which many of you know is our first year seminar. So I'm getting to form bonds with students that I wouldn't normally have, that professors just get with their students in the classroom. I've had many a conversation in my office with students already, and students that know that they can come and talk to me, that I would not have the opportunity to have made those connections had it not been for this position, this space, and the role that I'm in. So I, first of all, want to thank the Powell family for your generosity, as so many people have said, and we will never stop thanking you because we really appreciate everything that you've done in forging this space for us. But also thank you to all of my coworkers. You all are the most wonderful people in the entire world. And my best friends are standing over there, which has been really awesome. So, and also just thank you to Emory and Henry for everything that you've given me, because this is my whole world. So thank you all for allowing me to speak today, and thank you very much to the Powell.
Listening to Zeke and listening to Sydney, we are all reminded once again that it is important what we do here at Emory and Henry. These are the kind of people that we're sending out into the world, and that makes Emory and Henry a wonderful place. Well, not long after I came to Emory and Henry, I got to know someone who fits a definition that we don't hear very much in reality, or we don't experience it very much in reality, and that is a legend. Charlie Sydnor is a great good friend of mine. We try very hard when we go out to dinner not to get arrested and to embarrass our families, but we always have a wonderful time. Charlie cares about our students as student athletes. He is a strong supporter of our athletic program, but he cares about their academic journey as a genuine academic himself who has a distinguished record as a scholar. He cares about the intellectual journey of our students, and he certainly means a lot to this institution. Charlie knows this institution as few people now living know it. He knows its ins, its outs, and all of its many merits. So it is a wonderful honor for me to introduce a man that I usually just refer to as 18, and he refers to me as 22. I am pleased to introduce my friend, Dr. Charlie Sydnor.
Can everybody hear me throughout the room? Thank you very much. President Wells. John is the right man at the right time in the right place and for all the right reasons to be the president of Emory and Henry. And I think this college is absolutely trajectory bound for a future of greatness under his leadership. He has a lot of energy, he has imagination, he has vision for different things that can happen, and he has the courage to put his name, reputation, and his bona fides down on the line to get something like the Powell Center done and operating to put this college in a position in higher education that few others will have in the coming future. Shannon Earl, who is John's better half, usually monitors the trips that we take out when we go to dine somewhere. We have not yet been invited to leave any place, but we have livened a few establishments up with some additional laughter. They were not going to go near your dinner. Shannon, thank you for so many things, but for most of all, taking the college and placing it upon your heart, just as John has his. I want to say something today say some things today that have been with me for a long time. I was here the day the tragedy took Paul Adrian's life. I was with the family in the hours that followed and at the services in Salem some days later. And all of this was so emotionally personal with me because I knew Paul Adrian in a way that normally a college president would not have the kind of family familiarity with an undergraduate student. Paul Adrian was a beautiful child. He was one of those golden sons of Appalachia who is clearly marked for a future of some destiny and whose presence struck you as that of someone whose optimism and whose outlook on life would infect all that he came in contact with for all the years that he was on the earth. I knew Paul Adrian when he was alive. I've known the family for that many years and more. I enjoyed some social outings and escapades with Buzzy and his father. And if you think Buzzy's something, you ought to have encountered his father in that era. Talk about a man who had to work hard to avoid being arrested. Powell Sr. fit that category. So even after my long career teaching in public service, the arrival of a cherished appeal from Buzzy and Donna Powell, inviting me to honor the memory of their beloved son, Paul Adrian, still resonates together. This appeal resonates together, and at once as a unique honor and as a heavy responsibility in the fullest meaning of the sense of both charges. Let me tell you something of Paul Adrian Powell III. He was a student when I was president. He was the type of person you could not mistake or miss out on. Everybody knew him. Most everybody loved him. And his presence, his effervescence, his charisma, his sense of the full enjoyment of life was something that everybody who knew him and was friends with him noted. Paul Adrian and I knew each other also, and what we shared of the evolving culture that had defined the college for a century and a half. I have been a student and president. Paul Adrian was a student. Therefore, the two of us had a kind of overlapping view of things. We knew things about the college and sensed them because we were going to have experiences that, that overlapped in that way. We could sense things and say things to each other that I could not or would not ever say to another student. And Paul Adrian would say things to me that my then secretary, Joanne, would wonder whether or not he was trying to get away with something that he shouldn't have. All of this, and by virtue of what Paul Adrian and I knew of each other, and what we shared in the evolving culture that has defined the college for a century and a half, each of us, Paul Adrian and I, shared new things of each other that students and classic and academics did not and could not. He reacted to Emory and Henry. He experienced Emory and Henry. He related to Emory and Henry in a way that other students here did not. Even as his student years passed, we became even more aware of this overlapping sensitivity to the shaping of the institution, to its cultural and intellectual uniqueness, and to the things that defined the way that alumni were attached to the institution in the years after they graduated. We understood things that were both personal and cultural, personal and emotional about the college. Made it possible for me to share with Paul Adrian things that I could not have shared with any other undergraduate. How do I know all this, and how am I sure that we became and belonged in this unique relationship? Because there was also one other defining factor. We were defined or shaped in the culture of student life by our common membership in a fraternity, Phi Pi Alpha, chartered in 1921, now just over a century old. The fraternity had a kind of culture of its own that beyond just the good times and the hijinks and the getting in trouble and the challenging of college rules, knit together and bound together the members of the fraternity in a way that others did not. And this was even true reaching from the desk in Paul Adrian's classroom to him sitting in the chair across the desk from my office in Wiley Hall. Paul Adrian Powell possessed the heart of a lion. He possessed the spirit of an angel, and he had the soul of a poet. We both sensed and knew and loved the college in the same way. As students, we experienced the same things. Pausing to listen to the magic and the music of the rushing water through that old concrete spillway in the duck pond wall, staring dumbstruck at the majesty of the star-filled heavens in the frozen serenity of a deep winter night. To summon the effort to study and not to sleep, lulled by the hypnotic powers of the gentle rain, covering all of the world of brick and marble beyond our room window. The things that Paul Adrian knew, the things I had also known, remained strong among the greatest of these bonds that, as an alumnus, knew and empowered college students themselves around the heart. Paul Adrian knew what I knew, that Emory and Henry, to those who come here and leave here, wraps itself around your heart and never let go. He was gifted in many things, in so many things, save the numbers of years themselves that would be needed to work out and live out and shape out a destiny that clearly would have enabled him, filled with charisma, to live out a life larger than life. In that briefest of times that were allotted him, however, his life became a brilliant passage of shining wonder, enabling his family to do the great and good thing for the future generations of Emory and Henry students that we gather here this afternoon to honor and celebrate. The tragedy that took Paul Adrian's life, the fact of his life turned into a great and good thing, a noble thing, a positive thing that will stand here for as long as the college remains alive and working. And for Buzzy and Donna and all of you and Paul Adrian's family, please know that you will carry the college's gratitude and its feelings of deep personal attachment to you for as long as the institution exists. Paul Adrian, whose time together we had that was so very spare. Goodbye, little brother. It's been a long and at times sad farewell. But in what you did with the example of your life, you set the college in a course it would not have known otherwise. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
We now reach that moment when we have the honor of hearing from the Powell family. And Buzzy has long since become one of my very favorite supporters of this institution. He loves this college. And if sending students out into the world is throwing a rock into the pond with concentric circles going out further and further, having a greater and greater impact, here is someone who has thrown more rocks because he sent a lot of students out into the world because of the generosity of his family and their kindness and their dedication to this institution. I'm pleased to welcome Buzzy Powell to the podium.
Well, you know, when Greg said, would you like to say a few words, I said, well, I'll probably get emotional. That's obvious. I am emotional, and our support for this center is something that has been something that I felt deeply involved with. I'm glad that it happened. Our support hasn't made this happen, and it's been the support of a lot of people. I'll have to say that Charlie Sydnor, he had this inspiration. He had the ability. He made the determination, along with Richard Trollinger, that this was going to be a necessary thing for this college. And so he planted the seed, and every administration since then, both past and current, John, the Board of Trustees, the faculty, the staff, all of those people have made this happen. Our support for that has been something that we wanted to do, and we're glad we did it, but the folks here at Emory Henry College have made this happen, and we certainly appreciate it. Our thank you to the Emory Henry community, and I also would like to say these two individuals, Charlie and Tom McLaughlin, in our family need were there for us, and I really, really appreciate these two guys. And I would like to say that we played golf years ago, Tom and I played golf not too long ago. And you see both of these guys, one of them is on a walker and the other on a cane. And I think if we played golf today, I may would have won some money from you guys. They took a lot of money from me in the past, but I think I get them back. Again, Emory Henry Community, thank you so much. Thank you so much, staff and administration and the Board of Trustees.
Thank you, Buzzy, and once again, thanks to everyone for being here today. Immediately following at the conclusion of our ceremony here, there will be tours of the facility following the ribbon cutting. So please join our Dean, Dean Travis Proffitt, for a tour and to meet the staff. There will be light refreshments will also be served following the ribbon cutting in the classroom. And guests are invited to tour our Student Athletic Success Center as well, located in the King Center when we conclude here. There is great work being done there as well. And from 4 o'clock to 6 this evening, the Powell Center will host a faculty staff social, and everyone is invited to join us for this social time. Finally, we have a plaque that we will be installing later this year, showing our appreciation to the Powell family and honoring the legacy of Paul Adrian Powell III, for whom this Student Success Center was named by the Board of Trustees. Until then, we're going to cut the ceremonial ribbon in the Student Success Center. So let's please gather around for the cutting of the ribbon.
Hey, I'm sorry. You're the real deal.
So if you all will come down here, let's see, you're going to come out, you want to go this way. Sorry. All right. I'm going to So family will join us up here with Buzzy and the president. You all come on up here, and I'm going to get out of the way. I think they actually work.
They do work.
Give it a try.
Right now?
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much. That concludes our formal part of the program. Thanks.
And again, join us for some refreshments in the classroom. And our staff members are wearing gold name tags, so feel free to mingle and